Hello everybody. It's about fucking time that I'm doing this video. Here's my review of Mafia 3. So Mafia 3 is a game I've been very excited for. Around the time that Mafia 3 was announced, a little bit before it, I'd say one of my friends recommended Mafia 2 to me. And at the time it was free on Xbox Live Games with Gold, so I was very happy. I was like, yes, I get to play this game. It's something new, right? I played through it. I ended up loving the game. I love Mafia 2 very much. It's one of my favorite games ever. I would put it in my top 10, I would say, but it's still a fantastic game that everyone really should play, especially if you have the option to. It's a pretty old game, but it holds up pretty well today. So when Mafia 3 was announced, I saw this game and I thought it looked fantastic. It still does. Look at the trailers, any of it. It still looks fantastic. And I was very, very excited for this game. Now, when the game was starting nearing release, I was a little bit worried because I was like, man, I really want to play this game so I can review it and, actually enjoy the game, but I didn't have any money. And I was planning on getting Battlefield 1 too, which I still plan on getting. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to get Battlefield 1 before I get Mafia 3, and I'll get Mafia 3 eventually. But my friend, who is awesome by the way, ended up getting Mafia 3 for the PS4. And because it was on the PS4, I was like, hell yeah, I get to play Mafia 3 on the PS4 because I don't play a whole lot of games on the PS4, so it was nice to have something else on there. So, boom, I got Mafia 3, and I was able to play through it. I played for the past week or so. I've been playing it, but I have had some issues with the PlayStation not uploading videos to YouTube, and Mafia 3 was crashing a bunch. And I don't think that's really the game's fault, but I'll get into that later. So yeah, uh, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the review. So the first thing I want to talk about was the graphics. The graphics are beautiful. In this game, they really did them well. They're great. There's great attention to detail in the world and in the characters. The mocap was very well done. The cutscenes are very fun to watch most of the time. The characters look really well. There's no awkward movements or anything like that. My biggest complaint with the lighting is just it sometimes will flash in and out where the lighting will not really work out very well. Like some characters' hairs will turn different colors mid cutscene, which was very strange. After a cutscene would be over or a loading screen or something like that, it would just not really load in. Everything would be perfectly white. You could see the outlines of characters and different objects in the world, but you wouldn't really be able to tell what's going on because everything was pure white, and it would change back after a minute or so. But it was very annoying when that thing happened. It really, took you out of the experience, which does bother me, and that's why I'm going to give the graphics section of this review an 8. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the gameplay of the game. Now, when I first played this game, I thought I was going to adore it. I thought this was going to be definitely a 10. I thought it has great gunplay, fantastic stealth. The stealth is very fun. Reminds me very much of Metal Gear Solid. Not as intricate, but it does have its moments where you just feel like an badass because you're taking out enemies and then you're stabbing them in the throat and fucking brutally murdering these people. But it's really fun. I have to say they did a great job with the stealth in this game, which I didn't honestly expect. I did not expect great stealth from this, but the gunplay in its own right is fantastic. There's a ton of weapons to use, which is really fun because you don't always just use the same weapon, which I kind of did use mostly the same weapon, but that's not a big deal to me. I mean, I love the weapons I was using. I had like a silenced pistol and an M16 for the later half of the game, which was very fun to use. One thing I'm going to complain about is the AI is not that great. Um, it's not the worst AI that I've ever seen, but it sure as hell isn't the greatest. If they went all out on the stealth, it could have been a perfect 10 on the stealth portion. But what happens is you can, like, if an enemy is just a tiny bit behind his friend, you can stab him and his friend will see it. People will scream if you shoot them or stab them, and enemies don't even look. They do look at bodies. That is something. But in terms of AI, they just really don't do a whole lot. They really don't care if their friends die. Mid sentence, similar to Fallout, if I kill somebody and they're talking, they just walk off. Nothing really happens. Must have been the wind. uh, and the the biggest complaint about this game that I have to give is the repetitive mission design. You'll probably hear this a lot in other reviews. Before I continue here, I haven't watched a single review of Mafia 3. I ended up looking up the game to get a thumbnail up for something, and I saw that it had a 6 out of 10 on Steam, but Steam reviews are fucking weird, so I don't really trust that. I don't know if this game is loved or hated. This is personally my opinion on it, and I don't want it to be biased or influenced, because when I see other reviews, it influences my opinion, and I hate that. I really do hate when that happens, because then I start to think like they do, and then I put it in my review, and that's not what I want this to be. I want this to be completely non-biased, just how much I enjoyed the game. But anyways, the mission design is very repetitive. For like pretty much the entire middle of the game, the missions are all the same. It's the same fucking mission. You'll go to point A, kill a bunch of people, destroy some stuff, whatever it may be, interrogate somebody, interrogate a target, kill a target, fight a boss, go talk to somebody, then go do it again. Back and forth, back and forth. And it's not like there's a cutscene each time, so it's really fucking boring walking into a room and talking to someone. I barely listen to those. There are sections where you would just talk to someone, and you just stand there. Nothing happens, you just stand there and they talk and you listen. Not even cinematic at all. It was completely dumb. I hated that. It was incredibly boring from going place to place. So I would drive to talk to a person who would want me to take down this lieutenant. I would go kill the people, and then I'd eventually get him out of hiding, kill the lieutenant, back and forth, back and forth. It was just so fucking repetitive. This does change up near the end, though. Eventually, the game picks up, and it decides to get off its lazy ass and have some better mission design. There's some more fun things, like a barge mission that was very fun, in which, I'm not going to spoil it, but you're on this barge hunting down some people. Really, really fun. I love that mission. And it definitely does. It gets a lot better near the end of the game, which was really, really helpful, because around the middle of the game, when you're starting to take down the empire that is Marcano, you really don't. You're incredibly bored, in my personal opinion. I was incredibly fucking bored. I was like, I'm doing this literally to review it. There was a point where I thought that I would just stop. I thought that I was just gonna stop and say I can't review this game, because it's so fucking boring. But it picked up, and I was very happy that it did. And I'm really happy that it happened, but you know what? I have to give it a 6. The gameplay section of this review is going to get a 6 because of how fucking bland the missions are sometimes. And it's a lot of them too. You don't have to do all the missions, but they're the ones that you do have to do, you still have to do them, and they're still all fucking boring. The next section is the atmosphere or story section. And I just want to say, the first thing I have to say about this is this game has a fantastic soundtrack. I loved every song in the radio. I loved the background music. I loved fucking everything. It was great. It definitely fit the setting of the 60s and 70s. You know, you had some of those classic Vietnam songs playing, Fortunate Son, stuff like that. And it was really great. I enjoyed the soundtrack thoroughly. There were a lot of songs that I recognized in there, and some that I didn't, that I ended up liking a lot too. So, great job on that. The characters are also very fun. I wouldn't say the most fleshed out characters in the world, but they're very fun. There's a great scene at the end. I don't know if it was in just my ending. I'm not going to spoil it, but in the end, there's a great end scene with the character Donovan, which was fucking phenomenal. I laughed. It was great. The characters are very fun, and there is a multi-ending situation. I'm not going to spoil how that works or anything like that. You'll see it yourself. But yeah, the characters are great. Lincoln Clay is great. There's some great dialogue between different characters, and you know, this being set in the 60s and you're playing as a black man, there is racism. So people who are sensitive to that are probably not going to like it very much, but you have to suck it up and deal with it, because it is very, very present. I would say it's done very well. Tastefully, it is done to be historically accurate. It's not sugarcoating it. People say the N-word all the time, and you're just going to have to get used to that. There are bad people in this game, aside from yourself and all the mob people. Casual citizens, there's the KKK. Racism is there, and I have to say they did it very well. You know, it wasn't just, you know, stupid. They did it very well, and I'm glad they didn't, you know, make it cheesy or anything like that. I think they did it very well. But that brings me to my last point of the atmosphere and story section, is that Lincoln Clay is just kind of stale. His character is funny, and you do enjoy his presence, and you enjoy playing as him, in my opinion, but he doesn't really develop. It is a revenge quest. I'm not going to tell why, but it is a revenge quest, and you know, it, you don't really care. He's just there to kill mob people, and become the mob boss, and that's really it. There's no, you don't really get a whole. You get a sad backstory, but it's not developed very well, in my opinion, and it really doesn't make you care for any of the characters. Not a single character that I was sad when they died, or I don't even think there was a character that died, honestly, that was worth getting upset over, even if they were an enemy, or getting all excited about. Even the end game itself wasn't that exciting. It was fun to play, but it wasn't like I was so fucking hyped to finally do the end, which was disappointing. Disappointing to say the least. I'll have to say, though, the end cutscene with Marcano was great. Before the actual end game was great. It was really well done. I really love that. But for the atmosphere and story section, I'm gonna give it a 7. I think that's a solid way to describe it because it's done well, but in terms of like characters and story, it isn't. It's not all there. In my last section of this review is going to be content, because if you know me, content is a big part of what I look for in a game. When I play a game, I expect to be able to play it more than once. I expect to be able to play it a lot indefinitely and not get bored with it. And games I've reviewed in the past, like Fallout 4 or other games like that, they haven't had the best content. This game, I'm just going to say it right now, it has a shit ton of stuff to do. Now, after the story, not so much, but during the story, if you are bored, don't be. You have a lot of stuff to do. There are always different side missions, always different rackets, people you can just go kill on the streets, different junction boxes, all this stuff. There's a ton of stuff to do. But that doesn't mean it's always good. Like I said, the middle of the game is very repetitive, and that's why I have to say this game puts quantity over quality, and that's disappointing. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff to do, and if you enjoy that, then you're going to have a blast with this game. I did have a blast with this game for the most part, but there was just not enough of the good stuff there. The beginning of this game you're going to fucking love, and the end of this game you're also going to fucking love. And there aren't a whole lot of glitches. I didn't encounter a lot of glitches. There's a couple, but it wasn't the biggest deal in the world. And there's a lot of weapons and many ways to execute everything. So even though there isn't the biggest amount of good missions in the world, there's a lot of ways to do them. So, for example, if you want to go stealth, if you want to take range, if you want to go up close, if you want to stealthily shoot them with your suppressed pistol or chase them all down with your knife, it doesn't really matter. You can go in guns blazing, you can start off stealthy and then go all out. It doesn't matter. You can do a lot. There's Molotovs, all sorts of different explosive weapons, different things like that you can do. And that's why I have to say they did a really good job of, making the boring missions still be able to be fresh and different each time. They are still boring, but it's a little different. And I'm glad that there's that. But like I said, with the same mission happening for so long and the annoying little talking sections and going back and forth all the time, the missions are incredibly a downgrade of this game. If they had put a little bit more effort into the missions of this game, I could easily say this game was an 8 or 9. And I'm going to give the atmosphere and story section, I said a 7. The content section is going to get a 5, because that's where this game is drained. It loses all of its great qualities in the content section, and that sucks. That really does suck. That I have to give this game the score I'm going to because of the content. I would definitely say that this game is worth picking up. I would not say $60. I would say it's a $40 or $45, maybe $50 game. Rent it, play through it a little bit, see how you like it, and then if you do enjoy it, go out and pick it up. But I would hold off, wait for Christmas, get some money from your family, and then go pick this game up. I wouldn't buy it right now. Like I said, wait for a sale, a price drop, Christmas, whatever it may be, because it's a good game. Mafia 3 is a good game, but that's about where it ends. It's a good game. And I would say it's a step up from Mafia 2 in certain aspects, but a step down in others. And that really does suck, because Mafia 2 had a great story. And, Mafia 3, not so much. But Mafia 3's gameplay is where it really does shine. And I think if you're a big supporter of gameplay, enjoying the game very much and just having a blast with it. Like some of my friends, they don't play games that often, but they do get on and they just like to have fun with missions and stuff. This game is for you. So my final score of Mafia 3 is going to be a 6.5 out of 10. I really hate to give it that score. In my in a reviewer from a reviewer standpoint, I think 6.5 is fair. But from my personal opinion, I think the game is more of a 7, but I have to give the game a 6.5 because of the content. It doesn't deserve any more. Hangar 13, you guys did a pretty damn good job, and I really, really hope you take what you did with Mafia 3 wrong and you fix it in the next Mafia game. I think Mafia is not going to stop anytime soon. I think they can fix what they did with this game. There's all sorts of DLC content to be had soon. They have a whole season pass laid out, ready. So if you did enjoy this game and you just want more content, want more fun stuff to do, maybe the DLC will change. Maybe the DLC will be great, and we won't have to worry about it. Maybe I'll raise my review score. But yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed, and if you were able to watch it all the way through and actually found something useful in this review, please leave a comment. It means a lot to me. So yeah, guys, Mafia 3 is a 6.5 out of 10, and that's where I'm going to end this one. I'll see you guys in the next video.